You've probably clicked on this video for any number of reasons. YouTube's autoplay has blessed us, you're a fan of 40k, a fan of Malifaux, both or neither. I'd like to start off by saying a huge welcome to you. This is Bang Average Gaming's first ever video, and our aim is to give you a glimpse into why we left the game of Warhammer 40k for pastures greener. My name is Jono, I make up a quarter of the team, and I'm here to give you a glimpse into the turning point in my hobby life. This is just a discussion and a bit of a comparison with some pros and cons to these two game systems and why my team decided to jump ship from one game system to another. So grab yourself a beverage, sit back and enjoy. I'd like to start off by saying Warhammer 40k is an amazing game. The lore, the miniatures, the strategic gameplay, it all drew me in. I remember the excitement of building and painting my first army, which at the time was Tyranids, the thrill of my first game, rolling buckets of dice and the camaraderie within the community. Giant guys in power armour wielding weapons of mass destruction against a plethora of aliens, evil god worshippers and robots alike. It was amazing. Personally, I was a fan of the orcs and the worshippers of Nurgle myself. But as time went on, the costs started piling up. Buying new miniatures, paints, brushes and all the other accessories, it felt like my wallet was constantly under siege. The price tags on the models are no joke, and the continuous waves of releases meant I was always spending more. One day, X model would be the new hotness, only for it to receive a nerf, and suddenly, Model Y is now the must-have in this summer's fashion. Sound familiar? Then comes the creative side. Painting miniatures is a hobby within itself. It's rewarding, but incredibly time-consuming. For every miniature in my army, I spent countless hours on painting, dry brushing, highlighting, building bases, and often feeling like I was never caught up. It became less of a creative outlet and more of a chore. Yes, there are shortcuts to take, such as conveyor belt methods, slap chop, sub-assemblies, and that kind of thing. But I was there, during the days when 120 orc boys were the meta. You can bet I assembled and painted them all. When I finally sat back and looked at my creation, the fatigue had robbed me of all the joy. Then there's the ever-changing meta. Keeping up with the latest strategies and rules was exhausting. It seems like every time I had a handle on things, a new codex would drop, shaking up the game and rendering my strategies obsolete. The codex schedule was a mess, and sometimes it felt like an eternity waiting for an update, while other times new books would drop back to back. This inconsistency made it hard to keep up and plan for the future, when a single rules loophole, misspelling, or word that just shouldn't be there, creating a loophole, could swing the entire game. Setting up games was another headache. The setup process was long and tedious, often eating into the actual play time, and don't even get me started on transporting the miniatures. Moving them from one place to another without damaging or snapping or knocking them off their bases was a logistical nightmare. Now, before you start hammering on your keyboards after this Debbie Downer of a segment, relax. Warhammer 40k is still an extremely popular game. I've made a number of very good friends from the hobby, and the skills I've learnt along the way have been invaluable. A hard week at work? Don't worry. The boys are coming over with beers and battle mats, and just like that, the week's hardship was forgotten. It still has fantastic lore, great sculpts, a hardcore fanbase, and a very hard-working team of designers, writers and playtesters at Games Workshop, but I reached the point of absolute hobby fatigue. It was like eating chicken and rice every single day and convincing myself I loved it, when in reality, I was just sick of it. I'm absolutely aware that this is not the case for everybody. You can build terrain from egg cartons and books, you don't need to chase the meta. There is some counterpoint for each point I have made so far. As stated at the start, this is just a personal opinion. If you're a die-hard fan and disagree, good for you. Keep fighting the good fight. However, if you do feel along the same lines and you're burned out but too afraid to admit it, fear not. It's just one of those things. One evening, after half a bottle of gin when the wife was away, I got a message from other John from the channel. Hey, I've heard you're running down in the 40k. Now this new game I think you'll really enjoy. Smaller in scale, skirmish gameplay, rich, interesting world, and free rules and data cards. I told him it sounded too good to be true, but John was absolutely telling the truth. It's called Malifaux. Not too many of us around here play at the moment, so we're always looking out for more people. Take a look on YouTube and let me know what you think. So on YouTube I did. And oh boy, was I blown away with what I found. Originally, I was a bit dubious. When I hear the word steampunk, I imagine smelly neckbeards with canes and hats with the cog stuck to them saying "my-lady" to every female in the vicinity. But once I gave it the benefit of the doubt and looked past this preconception, there was so much more under the surface. This game really has a faction for everyone. You want monsters that look like monsters that hunt people? We have that. You want monsters that look like people and hunt people? We have that. What about people that hunt those monsters, but they're cowboys? Yep, we have that too. We have monks, we have gremlins, we have mages, we have a woman that bends time and space, we have a hunter that hunts humans for sport. Hell, we even have the game's equivalent of Jack the Ripper, who teleports around the board and makes sure that player has no friends. Fuck you, Seamus. It really has something for everyone. Yes, it's a bit of a far cry from Orphans, filled with performance enhancing formulas and shoved into a war about daddy issues, but it really was the sorbet palate cleanser I was looking for. So, by now, you're either intrigued, disinterested, or already know where this is going, but bear with me. There are a few key points that make this game stand out to its competitors and make it unique when standing up to the top Goliath that is 40k. Like most skirmish games, players alternate activations. That's right, no more waiting for an hour while your opponent's flavour of Marines guns your army off the board during turn 1. There are ways to manipulate these rules, but most of the time it's you, then me, then you again. The biggest difference that I thought was odd, but so unique, is that instead of dice, you flip cards. No, this isn't a deck builder, or a you fell for my trap card. It's like a standard playing deck. 42 cards of 4 suits, but you keep the jokers in. They're very important, but more on that later. Once you shuffle your deck, in normal circumstances, you randomly draw 6 and keep them secret. This is your fate deck, or cheat cards. Don't like that 3 that you flip to try and gun down your opponent's mini? No problem. You can cheat in that lovely 12 you've had stashed in your hand. Think of these as rerolls, sort of. There are ways to improve and reduce your odds. Positive flips let you flip 2 cards and take the highest. Negative flips do the same, but you're forced to take the lowest. You don't have to be a Vegas card counter, but as the game goes on, you'll keep a mental note of what's been discarded, what's in your hand, what could be in the deck, adding a layer of strategy and tact to the game. No more, I roll 30 dice with re-rolling for misses, and then wasting a load of time. Flip, flip, see results, resolve, done. Easy, right? Now we get on to the best part. You'll start off with Crew's core boxes, which has Master, Totem, a model that's free but you have to take, and a selection of other models that tie in and synergise with your chosen crew. These starter sets usually go for around £40, with some exceptions for bulkier boxes, but normally enough for a small scale battle. Your chosen keyword will also have 2, 3 or possibly 4 boxes in its range that expand the keyword further. At some discount stores such as Whaling Games, you can buy these at a discounted rate. These will contain more models than you'll need, as the game typically sees your force with around 6 to 7 models on average, but they give you flexibility and options depending on the game type and your opponent's crew. I forgot to mention, your team is called a crew. Sounds badass, right? Here we have an example. Lady Justice is a fierce, sword-swinging melee fighter. She's part of the guild faction. As you can see, her keyword is martial. On screen are other examples of what box sets are in the martial range. The thing I love most about Malifaux is it's very difficult to get by on just one list. It's possible in the hands of a skilled player, but having other options to fill weaknesses is great. No more rock, paper, scissors when your orc army faced against Drakari and the battle is almost decided before first dice are rolled. The win-loss percentage difference between factions in Malifaux is extremely low. At this time of recording, Longshanks reports that the guild is sitting at the bottom with a win rate of 47%, whereas at the top, Arcanist is sat at 53%. For those who don't math good, this is a difference of 6% between top and bottom of the leaderboard. For those not in the stats know-how, this is an incredibly well-balanced game. Yes, these stats are not all-encompassing, but they're a great ballpark figure to illustrate my point. Another point I forgot to mention earlier is the company who produced the game, Weird, have a free mobile app that contains every stat card in the entire game at your fingertips. That's right, every single one. Think you like the look of a crew, but you're not sure if their playstyle will gel with you? Look them up, type in the keyword and bam, every card for every model is there, including upgrade cards. In this app, you can also build up crews, arrange games with a friend, and keep track of scores and objectives. You can drop your pre-made crew straight into it in seconds, and you're ready to roll. That's some consumer-friendly behaviour right there. The app is kept up to date with card erratas, and the cards are updated, say so on the bottom, so you'll know which ones have been changed recently and when. Now to some negatives. Unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's pretty close. Games Workshop is a UK-based company, meaning we here across the pond get first dibs at all the new releases and box sets as they come out of the factory. Weird is based in the USA, so for us in the UK, some model boxes can be harder to obtain. There is the option to order and ship from the USA, but the capitalist state of the world does love slapping a good import tax on your orders, so do beware of that. The other issue is model assembly. The boxes don't come with instructions, which isn't a bad thing, save the forests, so if you need to look them up online. Sometimes these instructions are not overly clear and can come down to interpretation, which sometimes can be quite annoying. You just need to take a little bit more time and dry fit before committing to glue. Then there are the models themselves. Some are the most fiddly sculpts I've ever seen. I'm talking about a face being a separate part to its head it's attached to. Like, why? Why is it that way? I don't know. John had to build some models called bone piles and now claims to have more patience than a Shaolin monk. I've seen the models and the assembly instructions and I absolutely fully believe him. They look like a nightmare to construct. On the upside, the sculpts are gorgeous, greatly detailed and have so much character. But don't take my word for it. Have a browse on Weird's website and see for yourself. With over 50 masters, there will absolutely be a master in the crew for you to vibe with. There's also a plethora of content on YouTube available for you to browse. I highly recommend TNG Productions and the Malifaux Masters Breakdown series. Hopefully this video has inspired at least one person to check out this fantastic game. I am by no means telling you to sell all your 40k like I did, but if you're after a new, easy to learn but hard to master game series, then I cannot recommend Malifaux enough. We shall be returning in the near future with more Malifaux content in the form of faction focuses, master deep dives, battle reports, hobby and more. Thanks for watching this video. We're Bang Average Gaming. Don't be afraid to be mid-table. Goodbye for now.